Hello and welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I am Rainbow.
She is Rainbow. And we are happy to see all of you guys back here for our second Grammar Station dialogue for this month. Now, if I remember correctly, yesterday we checked in with a busy family and they were talking about their schedules.
Yes.
Well, actually, it was only 2 members of the family because the other 2 were busy. They weren't at home.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So the parents, Lars and Petra, were both home after work and their kids were not. Daughter Heidi was at the library and Duncan had a science project at a friend's house.
That's right. It was a dialogue about something I'm sure lots of us can relate to. Modern life does keep us pretty busy. But for part B today of our Grammar Station unit, we'll be turning our attention to something that is a bit more exciting than having a busy schedule, but this is also something you could definitely say that is part of daily life here in Taiwan, although much more exciting.
Yes, and we're talking about earthquakes. So they're very exciting, but here they're also just a part of daily life. So Mike, you're from Canada. Do they have earthquakes there?
Earthquakes in Canada. Well, Canada is really big. So if you go over to the western part of Canada, like near Vancouver, that's just on the other side of the Pacific Ocean from Taiwan. You know, it's near California and stuff. So yes, they do get earthquakes over there. But I'm from Montreal, way over on the eastern side of Canada, near New York, sort of. And we don't get many earthquakes at all. In fact, before I came to Taiwan, I only remember feeling one earthquake before in my life.
Wow.
Just the one.
Mike 老师提到加拿大西部，所以是环太平洋，地震就比较常发生。可是 Mike 的家乡 Montreal 在东部，所以比较少有地震。这边补充一下 ，the Pacific Ocean 是指太平洋。Wow, so how long did it take you to experience an earthquake after you got here?
Well, in my first week in Taiwan, I felt 3 earthquakes.
What?
1 in my life before that, 3 in 1 week when I came to Taiwan.
Wow.
Now, these were quite small earthquakes when I think about it now, but back then, whoa, that sure felt strange to me. This is not like home. But yeah, anyways, earthquakes, they are a part of life in Taiwan. So, let's get to our dialogue, see what happened with our 2 characters during the last earthquake, and how they felt about it. What happened to them? But before that, we're going to check out our new vocabulary.
Right now.
Yes, indeed. Earthquake!
第二天的文章，主角在讨论昨天发生的可怕经验。不过，也许在台湾我们已经很习惯了，所以根本不觉得可怕。没错，那就是地震。好，我们先来看几个单字。第一个 earthquake，earthquake。地震是个名词 ，earth 就是地球 ，quake 是震动，加在一起变成一个单字 earthquake。There was a serious earthquake in Tokyo yesterday. There was a serious earthquake in Tokyo yesterday. 昨天东京有个严重的地震。第二个单字 building，building 大楼建筑物是个名词 My building is just around the corner. My building is just around the corner. 我居住的大楼就在转角的地方而已。第三个单字 lie 躺是个动词，它的三态非常特殊，是 lie, lay, lean. I'm going to lie in the sun this afternoon. I'm going to lie in the sun this afternoon. 我今天下午要晒日光浴。好，最后一个单字 high 高的是个形容词 The shelf is too high. I can't reach the dishes. The shelf is too high. I can't reach the dishes. 这个架子太高了，我拿不到上面的盘子。好咯，我们现在看完单字例句，一起回到课文中。
Nathan and Ginger are walking to school together.
Did you feel the big earthquake last night?
I did, but it wasn't big. What were you doing when it hit?
I was taking a shower. I almost fell because the building was shaking so much.
How scary.
Explanation 1.
Okay, so it's time to find out about a scary experience that just happened and what the two characters in our dialogue thought about it. As we begin, we can see that it says right at the top there, Nathan and Ginger are walking to school together. Okay, so they're two students and they are headed to class.
So it looks like Nathan begins the conversation by asking Ginger, did you feel the big earthquake last night? Wow!
The only big earthquake that I didn't feel happened when I was on a bus. And so the shaking ground was hard to feel because the bus was shaking too, and you didn't really notice. But yes, for most people, especially if you're sitting down or standing or not moving, you will definitely feel a big earthquake.
Yeah, so Nathan clearly felt this big earthquake. That's why he's asking Ginger about it. Let's see what she says. So Ginger says, I did, but it wasn't that big. Okay, so Ginger felt the shaking, but she kind of was wondering what Nathan was so excited about.
Yeah, big earthquake? Psh, that was nothing.
Nothing.
Maybe Ginger is much braver than Nathan, or maybe where they were at the time of the earthquake had something to do with how it felt to each of them. Now, Ginger is actually wondering about that. She goes on to ask Nathan, what were you doing when it hit? This is a good question. Yeah, and we often use this verb hit to talk about when an earthquake happens or occurs. Another verb you might hear or read, especially on the news, is the verb strike.
Oh, yes.
Like an earthquake struck in Japan or something like that. And actually, hit and strike both have similar meanings.
So let's go back to Nathan and find out what that answer is to Ginger's question is. So what was he doing when the earthquake hit? He says, I was taking a shower. Okay, that's not something that I would want to be doing during an earthquake.
No way, me neither.
Imagine if you're washing your hair and you've got soap everywhere you can't see and suddenly the whole bathroom's moving. So it must have been scary for Nathan. Let's pause here first and we're going to go right to Daphne for our first grammar point of the day about taking a shower.
大家好，我是 Daphne。今天的第一则文法是 take a shower， 意思是冲澡。take 是及物动词，意思是执行。三态是 take、took、taken。shower 是名词，意思是淋浴。我们来看个例句 ：Dylan took a shower after jogging。Dylan 慢跑完后冲了个澡。
So, poor Nathan. There he was, enjoying a nice, relaxing shower last night, when suddenly an earthquake hit and the bathroom started to move all around him. That's no good. And as we get back to our dialogue, not only was it a scary situation for him, it could also have been quite dangerous. As he goes on with his story, he tells his friend Ginger, I almost fell because the building was shaking so much.
Oh, yes, that would have been really bad. Bathroom floors can be really slippery when they're wet, right? So he could have fallen and hurt himself quite badly, even if the earthquake wasn't that big.
Yeah, so hearing Nathan's story, Ginger can now understand why he's still kind of shaken up and still a bit scared after what happened last night. As we reach the break, Ginger says, how scary or frightening indeed. Ginger, and it looks like this is also our second grammar point. How nice. So let's go back to Daphne to learn more. How exciting.
第二则文法是 How scary， 意思是真可怕，是一句感叹句。用副词 how 多么开头，使用时后方接形容词，例如 scary 可怕的 ，wonderful 美好的 ，boring 无聊的。我们来看个例句 ：It's your first day of school. How exciting！ 今天是你上学的第一天，真令人兴奋。
All right, so now it's time for our break. Let's go and do that, and then we will be back.
Then, while I was trying to dry myself, the lights went out.
Really? My house was moving while I was lying in bed, but it wasn't bad.
How is that possible?
Well, we live in different areas, and your house is on a higher floor.
Explanation 2.
Welcome back, everyone. Nathan was just telling his friend Ginger about his scary experience of taking a shower when an earthquake hit.
Yeah, Nathan said that the building was moving so much that he almost fell on the bathroom floor. But luckily he didn't, because he could have gotten really hurt.
Right, and as if that was exciting enough for one night, Nathan had another scary experience waiting for him. As we get back to the dialogue, he continues his story of the worst shower ever by telling Ginger, then, while I was trying to dry myself, the lights went out. Oh man, Nathan, you poor guy. This really was the shower from hell. He's naked, he's cold, he's covered in water, and now he's in the dark. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't go back to take a shower for a long while. So, if you guys see Nathan over the next few days and, ooh, he smells kind of bad, don't be too surprised. The guy's gone through a lot. He's not going to take a shower for a while, okay? All right, anyway, so let's pause here so that Nathan can collect himself and calm down, and we can see Daphne one final time for our third grammar point. Poor Nathan.
He's funny though.
第三则文法是 go out， 意思是灯光火熄灭。go 是不及物动词，意思是变成，三态是 go、went、gone。out 是形容词，意思是熄灭的。go out 字面意思就是灯光火熄灭，也可以引申指停电。我们来看个例句 ：The candle went out， 蜡烛熄灭了。
好，我们刚才读到 Nathan 洗澡的时候刚好有地震，更惨的是还要停电，所以他没有穿衣服，身上湿哒哒的，又没有电灯，真的是非常糟糕。Naked 就是赤裸的，没有穿衣服的。
Yeah, so Nathan had his worst shower ever, and maybe his last shower for a little while. He's probably going to be too scared to go back in the bathroom.
So his friend Ginger has been listening to his story with a bit of surprise because he really experienced something awful last night because of the large earthquake that happened. But for her, last night's earthquake wasn't that bad. So she says to Nathan, really? My house was moving while I was lying in bed, but it wasn't bad. So for Ginger, she felt it, but the earthquake was just okay. A little bit of shaking, but not enough to scare her or even get her out of bed.
Yeah, and when Nathan compares his scary experience during the big earthquake to Ginger's experience, he's really surprised that she didn't feel much at all. So he asks her, how is that possible? He was being thrown around in the bathroom and she was barely moving in her bed. What's that about?
Oh, so Ginger explains why they had such different experiences. She tells Nathan, well, we live in different areas and your house is on a higher floor. Oh, that makes sense. So where the earthquake actually happens underground, while that happens, the type of ground that a building is on and what floor you're on definitely can affect the shaking and the feeling. And in this case, when the earthquake is quite strong, it affects the damage as well.
Absolutely. And also, if you're naked and covered in soap, an earthquake will always be scarier. Always be scarier because, you know, you're naked and there's an earthquake. Well, anyways, I'm glad that they're both okay, and I hope that Nathan gets his courage back and is able to go back to take a shower soon. He'll probably just take very, very quick showers from now on. Take a shower, just in case. Okay, everyone, take care, be safe out there, and we'll see you all back here sometime soon. Until then, bye-bye.
Part B. A scary experience. Nathan and Ginger are walking to school together.
Did you feel the big earthquake last night?
I did, but it wasn't big. What were you doing when it hit?
I was taking a shower. I almost fell because the building was shaking so much.
How scary.
Then, while I was trying to dry myself, the lights went out.
Really? My house was moving while I was lying in bed, but it wasn't bad.
How is that possible?
Well, we live in different areas, and your house is on a higher floor.
Australia has some interesting and unique landscapes. Bungo Bungo Range is a collection of rock formations in Purnululu National Park in Western Australia. It's a beautiful place with colorful layers of orange and black rocks. The sandstone and other rocks formed over 350 million years ago. Scientists think that a meteorite hit the area a long time ago. That might be one of the reasons it looks so unique. Wind in the Tanami Desert and rainfall created these patterns on the rocks too. Weathering made deep canyons and some great rock climbing spots. The Bungo Bungo Range wasn't discovered by the outside world until 1982, but Aboriginal people have been living in the area for around 20,000 years. Because it's located in such a remote place, not many tourists make it to see the Bungo Bungo Range in person. Follow a guide to take you to the best rock formations in Australia.
Here is more information.
Algae. Seaweed is a type of algae. Deposit. The river deposits small rocks and dirt at its mouth. Dome. There is a large dome on top of the building. Erode. The ocean eroded the cliffs. Gorge. Taroko Gorge is a famous gorge in Taiwan. Sandstone. Sandstone is made when sand is pressed down for many years. Seabed. The seabed is the bottom of the ocean. Stack. Brian ate a stack of pancakes for breakfast. Weather. Wind and rain over millions of years weathered away the mountains. Whirlpool. That boat was caught in a big whirlpool. Thank you for joining us for today's lesson. We'll see you next time.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 又到我们1分钟的单元喽。那我们今天要用1分钟的时间来复习单字跟造句练习，同学们您都准备好没？1分钟计时开始。第二单词是地震，地震怎么说？叫做 earthquake。Be sure to stay calm during an earthquake。地震来袭时务必要保持冷静。第二单字呢是指大楼或是建筑物，这个字叫做 building。Building 就是在 build 建造后面加上 ing 来构成这个名词。There's a guard outside the building。那栋建筑物外面有一名警卫。第三单字是躺的意思，那这个字它也有说谎的意思，你知道是哪个字吗？叫做 lie。特别注意，躺的动词三态是 lie、lay、laying， 那说谎的动词三态是 lie、lied、lied， 是不一样哦。那我们用躺来造句 ：She put on her pajamas and lay down on her bed。她穿上睡衣，接着就躺到床上。第四单词它是形容高的，位置是高的，这字叫做 high。The living room has high ceilings。客厅的天花板很高。好，太好啦！我们已经在1分钟之内已经复习完单词，也造完例句喽。同学们表现很棒诶，那我们下次见了，拜拜。
See you next time.